Oh, y'all want a movie review? Hey everybody, it's Matty Rants here. I have owed you a movie review forever. And now you got one. We're gonna start this with the Happytime Murders. Was this movie funny or not? Let's start with just the plot. Basically, it's a world where puppets and humans coexist, but the puppets are treated as second-class citizens. You know, kind of like stuff that's happening today. But not really, because this is puppets and they're full of cotton and other organs that are puppet related, which that was a whole plot device in the movie. And I gotta say, I wasn't mad at it, but it was very, what? But the world exists in this way, and I guess everybody's okay with it, but puppets are like, this sucks. However, all of a sudden, puppets are starting to be targeted by a series of murders. And the murders are linked to a 90s sitcom show that starred puppets and Elizabeth Banks as, you know, Elizabeth Banks. I love Elizabeth Banks. That's no shade, but I promise you they didn't give her much to do in this movie, and I really wanted her to shine more because she's Elizabeth Banks. She's freaking hilarious. Anywho, they start targeting these puppets and killing them, and it involves a former detective who was disgraced from the police force for missing a shot, and child, it gets a little long-winded. Basically, he's trying to find out who killed all these people. So we have a mystery on our hands. And Melissa McCarthy is there to guide us along the way because Melissa's good for a lead role in a comedy, okay? She's proven that she can bring in numbers. I'm assuming they asked her for that. And because she's actually freaking hilarious. I've wrapped that up for you in a little bow. I hope that was enough to give for you to understand what the movie is about. Here are my thoughts. Was this movie funny? It had its moments. Was it a terrible movie? No. It wasn't terrible. I've seen worse. Was the movie good? Was it funny? And would I recommend you going to see it? It wasn't the best movie I've ever seen. I wasn't expecting it to be. It had a lot of moments where jokes did not land. And when I say they did not land, I mean flatline. Call it, because they're dead. Like, jokes were just not landing half the time. But the other jokes that did land were good jokes. Good jokes. I was bahaing, you know, bah-ha-ha-ha-ha-ha-ha. I was laughing a lot during some of the film, and a lot of the stuff that was happening was just extremely ludicrous. There was a lot of crazy moments in that movie that only would have worked with puppets. It couldn't have worked with CGI. It couldn't have worked with, you know, people doing it to each other. I mean, there is a scene where a squid is milking a cow as a part of a porn scene. It actually was funny, y'all. I'm like, me describing it to you and telling you this now, it's nothing compared to you seeing it. It was flipping hilarious. I was in the movie theater just like, what? I was laughing but saying what at the same time. Like, what the hell is this? People behind me and people in front of me were laughing too. They just were like, what? It felt ridiculous. And I think that's what the movie was going for. It just wanted to be absurd, ridiculous, offensive in certain ways, not in a, you know, racist standpoint, nothing to do with what's happening now with the current climate. But when I say it just wanted to shock us, it wanted to shock. And I think that's what the movie was going for more so than actually building a great story with good jokes. It wanted to shock me more than it wanted to entertain me. And that was my problem with this film. But I actually still recommend you go see it. Matthew, what? I know. What am I doing? Why am I saying still go see it? After I left the film, I was still glad I paid my money to go see it. It was a matinee, mind you, but I still went and saw it and paid my money. I thought about it for a little bit and I was like, okay, this didn't work, this didn't work, this didn't work. And I kept doing that, but then I thought about the scenes that made me laugh and I liked the most, and that is what kept me from giving this a horrible score. It had flaws, but the intentions were good and some of the delivery was really great. The delivery that was really great made more of an impact for me than the stuff that was crap. But girl, boy, whoever's watching this, there's crap in the movie. Let me just tell you. I'm not meaning literal crap. Well, unless you count shitting glitter as a point of... I think he was pissing glitter and then pooped eggs. You'll see it, child. It was crazy. But it was just a crazy film. It was just there to shock. It didn't land all of its jokes, but it had a good it just had a good feeling behind it. I liked it. And I thought that the puppet work was done brilliantly with the movie, like real talk. Some of the characters though, I just didn't really care for. Like the main character who's the puppet guy who's blue. Phil Phillips is his name. Phil Phillips? Okay, am I supposed to go, oh, how funny you use someone with a first and last name that's the same? No, I didn't really care for that, and I thought that was silly. The Sandra White character who had the sex addiction, girl, that was hard. But I will say that scene that you saw in the trailer of them having sex in the office is even funnier played out on film than it did in the trailer. I was cracking up during that because it was just silly. But there were people who were in the film who I didn't think had any great lines whatsoever. Like Elizabeth Banks really wasn't utilized in a great form unless you count the carrot shaving scene, which was pretty damn funny. I think Maya Rudolph was trying, I don't know if she was trying too hard, but there was points where she reminded me of, if you remember the Batman, the animated series, where Harley Quinn had that Mr. J type of talk, or if you go to Little Shop of Horrors, Sydney, that type of feel was happening with her, but it just wasn't pushed to that extreme extent I wish it would have been, because the film felt more like it was going on that shock level, or let's just throw it out there, and I felt she was just a little bit too timid. And I'm a huge fan of Maya Rudolph, but I almost feel like that's how she was told to act through the film versus just her giving her interpretation of what they gave her. Now, Melissa McCarthy, God bless her. Half the jokes landed, half of them didn't. Some of the delivery was weird, and then other times I was living and breathing for her existence. But they had this ongoing joke of all the puppets recognizing her as a man because of how she dressed and looked. And it was a little funny, but at the same time, it was like, girl, they did that way too much. I was like, okay, but we're done, we got it. She doesn't wear makeup. Oh, that's a joke. Come on now. But yeah, the film was good. I mean, I could complain, I could tell you all the things wrong with it. I could sit here and go down the line with you, but I'm not. It was a good movie. I enjoyed it. It had a lot of flaws. It was not great by any means, but it was enjoyable. So, what do I give this movie on a letter grade scale? Because somebody in my Instagram was like, Matt, give it a letter grade. I want to say C+, but I'm gonna give it a B- because I love puppets, making me a little bit biased towards this. However, I do think that the positive outweighed the negative with the film, but I really hope that the numbers that the movie's bringing in now are not going to affect us having another adult puppet movie that can be done correctly all the way through. Again, this was not a shit show like a lot of the critics are saying. It just needed more time and more work, and the script needed to be reread over and over again, okay? All right, first movie review done. I'll do this again. Black Klansman is my next movie that I'll be doing, and I'm sure some of you are dying to hear my thoughts on that. And tomorrow, check out my New York review. That will be up later in the evening Thursday. Talk to you later, kids. All my best love, hugs, and kisses, and wishes to you. I'll see you later, babies.